Welcome to the Explainer. As we make our way through 2025, it's turning out to be a year just full of contradictions. So today, we're going to dive into some of the most surprising insights for the year, all based on the fantastic reporting and analysis from The Economist.
Yep, everything you're about to hear comes straight from their World Ahead 2025 special issue. And what a year it is. A year where incredible hype is crashing head-on into a messy reality. And where real progress is popping up in the last places you'd expect.
All right, so let's get right into it. And we've got to start with maybe the biggest contradiction of all, the AI boom.
This is the question, right? Is all this AI mania a bubble that's about to pop? Or is it really truly changing our world as we speak? Well, the thing is, the answer seems to be kind of both.
So check this out. This really gets to the heart of the AI contradiction. You've got this insane financial mania. NVIDIA's market value shot past $3 trillion. But then you look at the real world. America's Census Bureau finds that only about 5% of businesses are actually using AI in their products or services. That is a huge gap, and you have to wonder, how long can that last?
For all its digital magic, AI is slamming into some very real, very physical walls. Take power. The thirst for electricity is just staggering. The International Energy Agency thinks data centers could double their electricity use by 2026. We're talking about as much power as the entire country of Japan. And get this, analysts are now predicting we could literally run out of high-quality data on the internet to train these models, maybe by 2028. All of a sudden, this virtual revolution feels very, very dependent on physical stuff.
And this whole theme of contradiction, well, it doesn't just stop with tech. It spills right over onto the world stage, and it's creating a really unstable environment for this year.
That's a pretty heavy statement, isn't it? But according to The Economist analysis, that's the stark reality we're looking at. The core of the problem? It's a world where America's power is being stretched super thin, at the exact same time that global threats are not just growing, but getting more and more connected.
And all of that creates what The Economist calls a deterrence gap. It's dangerous. Think about it. America's military is spread thin, while you've got this sort of autocratic club of China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea working more closely together than ever. Throw in shaky alliances and a Europe that's pretty distracted by its own politics, and yeah, the world suddenly feels a whole lot less stable.
Meanwhile, China's dealing with its own big paradox. Back home, its economy is really struggling. There's a property market in trouble, entrepreneurs are feeling down, and those US tech restrictions are tight. But all that pressure is actually forcing a pretty wild outcome. Chinese companies are learning to innovate with less, and they're pushing aggressively into global markets. We're seeing EV factories popping up everywhere from Hungary to Thailand.
Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. Not at all. In fact, some of the most exciting stories about growth this year are coming from places you might not expect.
Yeah, well, a lot of the big major economies are kind of struggling. The Economist analysis points to some real bright spots out there. These are the places that are bucking the trend, avoiding that trap of low growth and high debt.
And here is a stat that just completely flips the script on a lot of old narratives. In 2025, get this, 9 of the world's 20 fastest growing economies are going to be in Africa, almost half. And we're talking about countries like Rwanda and Tanzania, places that aren't just relying on commodities. They're projected to grow by over 6%. It's a huge story.
And speaking of unexpected places, this quote just perfectly sums up a new kind of cultural force that's exploding onto the scene. A scriptwriter was talking about Chinese microdramas, and he called them soaps on steroids. I love that.
So what are they? Basically, they're these minute-long soap operas designed for your phone, and it is a full-blown phenomenon. In China alone, the market is on track to nearly triple in value by 2027. And now, it's going global. Chinese-backed apps are taking the same model and exporting it, using foreign actors to create original content for audiences all over the world.
All right, so this same dynamic, this push and pull, we're seeing it play out in science and technology too. You have these incredible breakthroughs on one hand, and they're fighting against some really big hurdles on the other.
So for decades, there's been this really frustrating trend in medicine. Developing new drugs just keeps getting more and more expensive. It's a trend called Irum's Law, which, is Moore's Law spelled backwards. And it basically says that the cost to develop a new drug doubles roughly every 9 years. It's been a massive drag on innovation.
But now, AI is getting ready to completely flip that script. It can literally dream up new molecules from scratch. It can crush months of tedious lab work down into just hours of computation. And here's the real game changer. It can help scientists make much smarter bets on which drugs are most likely to succeed, way before they get to those super expensive human trials.
And the economic impact here is just mind-blowing. Think about it. By helping to weed out failures earlier, AI could save something like $450 million on the development of a single drug. That's incredible.
And it's not just medicine. The breakthroughs are happening all over. 2025 is shaping up to be a huge year for personalized cancer vaccines using that same mRNA tech. We're seeing huge leaps in grid-scale energy storage, and I'm not just talking about batteries.
And yeah, over in China, they might actually launch the first commercial flying taxi services. Really?
Which brings us to our final point. And this might be the biggest, and honestly, the most surprising question for 2025.
Have global emissions finally peaked? I mean, the UN's climate panel has been saying it for years. To keep warming within the Paris Agreement limits, global emissions have to peak by 2025. So, have we hit that mark? Have we finally done it?
If you look at this timeline, you can see that most of the rich countries, Britain, America, Japan, they peaked their emissions years, even decades ago. But the global number, the big one, has always hinged on China, right? The world's biggest emitter. Well, incredible new analysis suggests that China's emissions might have actually peaked back in 2023. And that's largely thanks to their absolutely massive investment and rollout of renewable energy.
Yeah, we don't know for sure, not yet. There's always a lag in reporting this kind of global data. But what that means is that 2025, right now, this is the year we actually get the numbers. This is the year we find out if humanity has finally reached that historic turning point.
So whether we're talking about AI hype, or global tensions, or the climate itself, 2025 really feels like a year of peaks, a year of transition. For so long, we've been focused on the climb. But as The Economist puts it, maybe the climb is over. And if it is, the only thing that matters now is how fast we come down. And that's the real question, isn't it? Not just for the climate, but for every single one of these challenges we've looked at today. If the climb is over, what happens on the way down?